There is a question almost every broken heart has whispered in the quiet moments no one sees. Why did God let me love the wrong person? You didn't love carelessly. You prayed. You hoped. You believed that connection meant something real. And when it ended, it didn't just break your heart, it shook your faith. The silence afterward felt heavier than the loss itself. The unanswered prayers made you wonder if God allowed something that only brought pain into your life. But hear this carefully. That question is not weakness. It is not foolish. It is human. And it may be the doorway to a truth that will completely change how you see your heartbreak. Because sometimes God allows the wrong love, not to wound you, but to awaken you. And once that question has surfaced, the next truth must gently settle your heart. God did not allow you to love the wrong person to punish you or harden you toward love. He allowed it to prepare you. You were never created to chase connection just to feel safe, or to cling to attachment for validation. Some lessons cannot be learned in comfort. There is a kind of clarity that only comes through loss. A kind of wisdom that only pain can uncover. Heartbreak stretches your heart, breaks illusions, and forces healing in places you did not know were wounded. God never wastes a wound. What felt like loss carried meaning. What felt like rejection was actually redirection. The relationship you fought to keep became the very path that led you back to God. Sometimes the greatest act of mercy is an unanswered prayer. Because God sees what you cannot see. He knows what that connection would have cost you over time. And His silence was not cruelty, but protection. And as that truth begins to take root, you may start to see the relationship differently. That painful connection was not just a season you passed through, it was a wilderness you were led into. It stripped you down to your core, removing comfort, certainty, and control, until only your soul was left exposed. In that wilderness, your longings surfaced clearly, but so did your weaknesses. You saw how deeply you wanted to be chosen, how easily you attached, how much you hoped another person could quiet the ache inside you. And for the first time, you realized there were parts of you that could not save themselves. No amount of effort, love, or sacrifice could fix what was breaking within. That realization was not meant to shame you. It was meant to humble you. Because surrender rarely begins with strength, it begins with exhaustion. In that wilderness, God was not absent. He was present in the stripping, present in the silence, present in the realization that you needed Him more than you needed the relationship. What felt like abandonment was actually exposure. What felt like loss was invitation. The wilderness was not designed to destroy you, but to detach you from illusions and lead you back to truth. And that moment, when you stopped fighting to be saved by love and began to be held by God, marked the true beginning of your healing. And once the wilderness exposed your need for God, it also began to reveal truths about you that comfort had kept hidden. The wrong person did not define your worth, but they exposed your wounds with painful clarity. They reflected back the insecurities you tried to ignore, stirred the places where you longed to be chosen, and awakened a hunger for validation you did not realize was still alive. What felt like passion was often fear of being alone. What felt like destiny was often dependency dressed in intensity. You confused attachment with intimacy, urgency with alignment, and attention with love. The wrong love did not fail because you were unlovable. It failed because it was built on unmet needs instead of wholeness. It revealed how desperation can imitate devotion and how longing can sound like commitment. In that relationship, your blind spots came into view. You saw how easily you overgave, how quickly you compromised peace for connection, how deeply you hoped another person could carry what only God was meant to hold. This exposure was not meant to condemn you. It was meant to heal you. God allowed the mirror so you could finally see what still needed restoration. The wrong love showed you that chemistry without character leads to confusion, and intensity without security breeds anxiety. And in seeing this, you were given a gift far greater than comfort, discernment. You learned that love should not cost you your peace, silence your convictions, or replace your dependence on God. What was exposed in pain became wisdom, and what was revealed in heartbreak became the foundation for healthier love ahead. And as your blind spots came into the light, another truth slowly emerged, one that explained why the connection felt so powerful yet so unstable. Counterfeit love almost always feels intense, but it never carries peace. It rushes you, It overwhelms your emotions. It consumes your thoughts, yet leaves your spirit unsettled and anxious. You felt pulled, not anchored, drawn, but never truly safe. That is because counterfeit love feeds on loneliness. The enemy knows how to use unmet needs as bait, offering distraction before God brings alignment. What looks like passion often hides pressure. What feels urgent often lacks wisdom. It convinces you that if you don't hold on now, you will lose everything. And yet, the more tightly you cling, the more confused you become. God allows this not to harm you, but to awaken your discernment. He lets you feel the difference between intensity and intimacy, between urgency and peace, because real love does not rush your healing or demand your compromise. It does not make you anxious about being enough or fearful of being left. Counterfeit love keeps you on edge, always performing, always proving. God allows it so you learn to recognize the warning signs your heart once ignored. Through that discomfort, He teaches you that peace is not boring, and stability is not lack of passion. Discernment is born when you finally admit that what felt exciting was slowly draining you. And once your eyes are opened, you can no longer be deceived by love that looks powerful but leaves your soul unrestored. And when the illusion finally broke, something unexpected happened. The very place that once held the most pain became sacred ground. Heartbreak became holy. The wrong person shattered the fantasies you built in your mind, the future you imagined, the version of love you hoped would save you. But in the wreckage of those illusions, questions began to rise, questions that did not push you away from God, but pulled you back toward Him. When they left, God remained. When the relationship collapsed, your faith did not. You did not drown in the waters of loss, you were delivered through them. You didn't lose, you learned. You didn't fall apart, you were rebuilt. What felt like devastation became transformation. In the quiet aftermath, God met you not with judgment, but with presence. He reminded you that even when the most cherished person walks away, you are not abandoned. He stayed when they couldn't. He held you when they let go. The pain stripped away false identities and revealed your true worth. Not through someone else's eyes, but through the eyes of your Creator. Tears became testimony. Brokenness became clarity. What once felt like the end revealed itself as the beginning of healing. That heartbreak marked holy ground because it was there that your dependence shifted. Your faith deepened, and your heart learned where true security lives. And standing on that holy ground, with illusions stripped away and faith made steadier, your understanding of love itself began to change. God allowed the wrong love so your soul would never again settle for imitation. What once felt exciting no longer felt sufficient. What once felt intense no longer felt safe. You began to see that real love is not built on chemistry alone. Not sustained by passion, attraction, or emotional highs. Those things fade when pressure comes. Real love is built on character that remains when feelings shift. On sacrifice that chooses commitment over convenience. And on truth that does not change with circumstances. The wrong love taught you, through contrast, what love is not. It showed you how chaos can masquerade as excitement, how inconsistency can disguise itself as mystery, and how performance can replace partnership. Through that pain, God refined your desire. You started craving peace instead of emotional turbulence, stability instead of unpredictability, prayer instead of pressure. You learned that love should not require you to abandon yourself, silence your convictions, or constantly prove your worth. Real love does not drain you, it strengthens you. It does not compete for control, it walks beside you in humility. God redefined love so that when the right one comes, you will not be impressed by noise, but anchored by consistency. And that shift is evidence that healing has taken root. And as healing completes its quiet work within you, the final truth becomes clear. The right love will never compete with God's presence, it will confirm it. God let you love the wrong person first so your heart would never bow to anything less than Him. That season was not punishment. It was protection. It was preparation. It taught your soul what not to surrender to, so that when real love arrives, you will recognize it without confusion. The right person will not pull you away from God in subtle ways or make faith feel optional. They will push you closer to Him, not through pressure, but through example. They will not make you question your worth or chase reassurance. They will remind you of who you are, even on the days you forget. They will not fall in love only with your appearance, your energy, or your potential. They will fall in love with your prayers, your values, your obedience, and your desire to walk in truth. That love will feel steady, not chaotic, secure, not consuming. And when it comes, you will finally understand why God allowed your heart to break first. He was not trying to destroy you. He was rescuing you from settling. He was shaping you into someone who could receive love without losing themselves. The heartbreak was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of becoming whole, grounded, and ready for a love that reflects God's own heart.